Welcome back to Wager Wars, where Rob and I give you our best NFL picks each week. This week, the divisional round.
Last week, I went 2 for 2. Unfortunately, Tua threw a lot of passing attempts in the fourth quarter, so I ended up losing $44 last week. However, George seemed to have a much bigger week than I did.
Last week, I went 3-1 with the prop of the year hitting Tua Tagovailoa going over 25 rushing yards. It happened in the third quarter. It was amazing when it happened, and I just jumped out to a huge lead, Rob.
Yeah, George, and why don't you give me your picks for this week?
My first pick this week for Wager Wars is going to be CJ Stroud over 8.5 rushing yards. Those odds are coming in at -110 on DraftKings. The same situation that I painted last week for Tua being put in pressure type situations where in a playoff game, a quarterback is doing everything that they can to move the ball down the field. CJ Stroud this season has gone over 8.5 rushing yards 6 times. So I don't think it's too far out of the realm of possibilities for CJ Stroud to do it again this week. I think the Baltimore Ravens pass rush is going to make him feel uncomfortable. And what do rookie quarterbacks do when they feel uncomfortable? They use their mobility. And CJ Stroud is no slouch. He runs the ball pretty well. So I expect the Houston Texans to exploit the Ravens, even if it's not from a pass rush, possibly a read option situation. A $100 bet here will return you $190.90. My second pick this week for Wager Wars is going to be Brock Purdy to throw an interception. Those odds are coming in at +102 on Boyd Sports. Let me paint the picture for you clearly. The Green Bay Packers did something that nobody, if I would have told you last week, nobody was thinking that the Green Bay Packers were going to rattle Dak Prescott, because all year long, Dak Prescott was playing as an MVP candidate. That Cowboys offense was looking at something that was really hard to slow down. But yet, people are overlooking that Green Bay Packers secondary, led by Jair Alexander, but Keyshawn Nixon and Darnell Savage are also formidable defenders, and I think that they are going to shock the world once again this week, and they're going to rattle Brock Purdy's cage. I'm predicting over 1 interception. If this happens, I think the 49ers are in trouble because Brock Purdy has never thrown an interception in the postseason. He's got a perfect record right now, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. So what does that mean? Let's follow the numbers, people. He will throw one this week. It's his 3rd time in the playoffs. I'm hammering this one personally. A $100 bet here will return you $202. My third pick this week for Wager Wars is going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown to score a second half touchdown. Those odds are coming in at +260 on FanDuel. Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of the Lions' most valued assets since, dare I say, Calvin Johnson. I was about to say Barry Sanders. Quick how we all forget how good Calvin Johnson was. But Amon-Ra St. Brown is of that caliber. And I know you might think I'm crazy, but this man, last year at this time, I had predicted as a top 5 wide receiver, and he proved me right this year. But why did I choose second half? When I watched the Rams-Lions game this past week, I witnessed that the Rams did a really good job of taking away Amon-Ra St. Brown in the first half. They were keying in on him, lots of double teams throughout the zones, and even in manned-up coverages, they always had a safety shading over him. I figured the same exact thing's going to happen with the Buccaneers, but need not to worry. The Lions will find a way to get him the ball because he is that elite. And when that happened last week versus the Rams game was in the second half. These odds are extremely favorable because him as an anytime touchdown scorer is currently -120. Some places you can find -105. But I think that if everything maps out perfectly the way I envision the Lions playing the Buccaneers, Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to have a killer second half. A $100 bet here will return you $360. My final pick this week for Wager Wars is going to be over, an alternative over, in the Chiefs versus Bills game. That alternative over is 53.5, and those odds are coming in at +240 on FanDuel. The conditions this weekend in Buffalo are going to be way better than they were last weekend. You're looking at 25 degrees with winds gusts of coming in about 10 to 15 miles per hour. So it's not going to affect two icons in the NFL landscape. This over-under, when I saw it initially, I was like, oh my God, 45.5? They may get this done in the first half, ladies and gentlemen. What you will witness is two defenses that all year have really struggled to contain teams' explosive plays. I think you're going to see a lot of explosive plays and fireworks in Buffalo this weekend. I am not worried about the extra touchdown that I'm adding on to the over-under total. Take this alternative and feel comfortable. Get some popcorn and watch two Titans duke it out. I did not want to choose a side here. All I'm looking for is a high-scoring affair. A $100 bet here will return you $240. With all my bets put in this week, I have the opportunity of returning $1,092.90.
All right, so my first pick for Wager Wars is not from my own mind. It's from Bill Krakenberger on the podcast this week that he does called Wisecracks. He said that he liked the Chiefs +3. I think it's a very fair price. And his logic for why we think that the Chiefs are going to beat the Buffalo Bills is pretty sound. They have a history of doing it. And coming into the season, everybody was kind of doubting the Chiefs, hence why this line looks the way it does. However, playoff experience and what the Chiefs were able to do last week, including this nice weather that we do have, I like the 3 points here with the veteran squad. Now, Josh Allen did look good. He made me money last week against the Steelers. I'm expecting this to be a down-to-the-wire game. And with the way that these two teams play, potentially I'm going to be in a situation where it's a field goal overtime push type situation. And I'm comfortable with the 3.5. If I have the option to take, a 3 with the option of a push in this situation, I'm comfortable with it. These odds come from PointsBet. It's -110. A $100 bet here pays $190.91. And for my second pick, I am going with the Buccaneers money line. This comes in at +230 from ScoreBet, or if you're in the States, this is the Barstool Sportsbook. The reason why I'm attacking this, I think they're the most favorable underdog, in my opinion, to win a game this week. Now, I do like the Texans to potentially cover the spread. However, there's some things going on with this Bucs team that I don't think people necessarily predicted. Baker Mayfield looked hot. They've been on a streak. I am discounting the last matchup between these two teams. This is a narrative play. There aren't a whole lot of statistics to back this one up. However, the Detroit Lions should not even be in this game. They should have been beaten by the LA Rams, but there is a giant, maybe you want to call it a hold, maybe a pass interference. It depends on where the ball was and where the pulling on the guys. I'm assuming it's his t-shirt because it was hanging out pretty far, which would have resulted in the LA Rams getting a first down and probably winning the game by a field goal. So the Lions don't even deserve to be here. A narrative play here. This Buccaneers bet comes in at +230, so a $100 bet here pays $230. My next bet here is a positive EV play, and on props.cash, its hit rate seems to be favorable for us. I'm expecting Lamar Jackson to at least throw 2 touchdowns, so we are betting him over 1.5 passing touchdowns in this game. This comes in at +120. So a $100 bet here pays $220, and the reason why I'm going to attack this bet here, it's pretty simple. Lamar Jackson is a gamer, and he has so many options to pass to, but this Houston defense is sort of good sometimes. They haven't been the most consistent defense in the NFL, and I think Lamar Jackson is going to be able to get a lot of throws off. Given that the analytics are pushing for this play, I hopped right on it. So a $100 bet here pays $220. And my final play, we're going against the analytics, but it is positive EV. So what this means is Devontae Wicks, and based on the chart I have up on the screen here, sometimes blows his receptions out of the water and sometimes he doesn't. But in this game against the 49ers, I'm expecting this Green Bay offense to suffer. So we're going to go Wicks under 2.5 receptions. This comes in at +160. I bet this at Unibet. The reason we're going to attack this because Jordan Love matched up against this team is not going to be able to play the same way. The offensive line isn't going to be able to block up guys the same, and I think you're going to see a lot of holding penalties. Brock Purdy isn't going to play the full game. They're going to get a huge lead. Sam Darnold's going to come in relief, and we're going to see Green Bay fall off. A $100 bet here pays $260. It is a very favorable prop from a price point, and Wicks has been streaky as the chart shows. With all my bets this week, I can make $1,000.91.
All right. I'm going to just stop you right there, Rob, because the fact that you think that the Buccaneers and this narrative play, isn't the narrative better that a city that has not won a championship since there was black and white television, that's a better narrative?
I like Baker Mayfield in this situation. He was playing scout team with his hand in the dirt playing defense as the third string, not getting an option Carolina quarterback last year. Look how dumb the Panthers look now, considering how poorly they've played the past 2 seasons for letting this guy go. He's slaying the ball. If you put Tom Brady in there or Baker Mayfield, I think you were going to get the exact same result last week. I'm going with Baker. He's been screwed too many times. He's going to come out here and upset the city of Detroit.
It doesn't matter how many smelling salts Baker Mayfield does. He will not be able to match the intensity from the drunk Detroit Lions fans. Fun fact for you, people in Detroit, when there is a playoff game or any big primetime game, they get hammered starting at 8:30 a.m. The place smells like absolute liquor on the inside. It's going to be an electric environment. I cannot wait to see if the Buccaneers are able to dethrone me, because I'm on the Lions to win the Super Bowl. And if they defeat the Ravens in the Super Bowl, oh my God, Rob, we are going to have a pizza party.
Yeah, man, there's some situations for me too. Like I have a plus 5,000 Houston Texans to win the Super Bowl ticket. I've decided to ignore my futures. I did so bad, but I think I'm like 5-36 on futures right now. Now I laid a lot of small stuff on some guys and some, awards and stuff that haven't come through yet. However, if we do look at this game, I think a booze-filled arena is Baker Mayfield's home spot. Sorry, I should say sweet spot.
Bro. It is where Baker Mayfield would feel most at home. I think the one thing that stands out to me is that if the Green Bay Packers are able to get the ball first and they're able to score a touchdown on the 49ers, very similar to like how they did against the Cowboys, and they're able to rattle Brock Purdy early, I think this game favors Green Bay more than it does the 49ers, who have been on a bit of rest here. Do you think there'll be any rust from the 49ers?
No, I don't think so at all. And Brock Purdy doesn't get rattled by anything other than when his arm explodes. And then he comes back into the game and still tries to throw the ball anyways. There's not much that Green Bay is going to be able to do other than taking Brock Purdy out of the game that's going to deflate or disenfranchise this 49ers offense, or basically their whole team anyways, because they went through it last year by absolutely getting hosed because of a bad injury. It doesn't matter. I don't think anything can phase this team at any point now.
Minus the Buffalo Bills defense being really banged up, I am super excited for this divisional card round. This is the most healthy that we've seen the offensive side of the ball in this round of the playoffs, I feel, ever in my life. There is no big-time quarterback injuries. We're going to see the purest form of all these teams this week, and I hope that you guys like the content that we're putting out here. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you back next week for Wager Wars.